how do we motivate KPI-driven teams like sales to use OKRs? Brilliant question, but actually the great thing is the OKRs are actually getting them to think about how are we going to succeed? How are we going to make us deliver those OKRs? What are we going to improve in the sales team to make sure as a whole team and everyone in the team exceeds their target? That's really what OKRs are about. We're trying to drive those improvements. With the sales team, it could be field salespeople, let's say. They are not probably directly involved in the improvements because they're out knocking on doors every day and selling, but they very much know what slows them down or what could be improved in the teams, or how could we change up things, quotes, messages, the way we do things to be one step ahead of competition, and setting then OKRs to drive those improvements forward will always make the team motivated, ultimately by hitting their KPIs. Who should be setting OKRs? Only management or everyone? The simple answer is everybody should be involved. So in a team, which is the lowest denominator of an OKR, everybody in that team should really be participating and helping in develop the OKR. First of all, in defining what is the objective, because that is kind of important. What is the direction we're going to go after? But absolutely on the key results. As a team, we need to agree what success would look like and set the key results. And doing that as a team means we're bound into it. If I'm a leader, I need to do it at the leadership level. Often the best way is the leader will often work with ideas at the top level, but he'll share them at least with the team managers to get inputs, to get ideas, to see whether everybody aligns with the right thinking of these being the big things to do. How do we manage people's performance, annual bonus against quarterly objectives? The simple answer is OKRs really are not meant for performance management. Those of you that have or have ever read Measure What Matters, go back and look at chapter 15. It's a good section there talking about performance management and the separation of performance management from OKRs from CFRs. There might be some very small overlaps, but the real point of OKRs is team and individual performance, not as a measurement, but as energizing it, making them focus, making them deliver improvements. However, you can't use it for bonus systems. You would still have to go back to use other more discrete measures for that. How do we create OKRs for business as usual? Kind of a simple, blunt answer is you don't. That's exactly the point, that you don't. Most of the times, business as usual is measured with KPIs, particularly quality KPIs. You know, are our customers above a certain satisfaction level? Are our web page response times below a certain number? If they raise above, and it's critical for business, then we would need an OKR to change or do something to make it happen. But you don't list everything in. What will happen if you do? You lose focus. You're no longer focused on a team on the 1, 2, 3 key things they need to improve for the quarter. You've now got 10, 15, 20, and that means nothing moves, nothing happens, nothing significant gets worked on. Can a specific revenue target be an objective at the company level? The simple answer is no. It never should be. The idea at the company level is it should be the direction to reach the revenue number. The revenue numbers are the KPIs. You know, we have a revenue target most likely, but we need to reach that. That revenue number might have changed from last quarter. It might be a 10, 20% increase. It could be a 100% increase. Whatever increase it is, will it happen the way we work now, or do we really need to change something across the company to make it happen? For example, we might have strong revenue growth and we say, right, we need to increase usage of the product stickiness. We need to work on things that will decrease churn. We need to improve the conversion sales process areas. There's a lot of different things we can do to drive it forward. So it really shouldn't be there. The KPI should be there. It should be clear what that is, but the objectives at the company levels are the directions we're going to move in. What if it takes more than a quarter to impact our KRs? Few points on this one. First of all, the KRs you have in that quarter, you should be able to drive them in that quarter. It depends on which team, but if you have a KPI like churn or NPS, it might take a year of work to improve that significantly. But what you will still do is set quarter one OKR, then we say, right, quarter two, we think this is the thing that's going to improve NPS. Maybe it doesn't drive directly the KPI forward even in the second quarter, but we're improving and measuring that we actually progress something we believe will move it forward in the long term. Actually, we've seen how that works, and it does work very well. You just need to determine what are you trying to drive forward, knowing that the KPI often takes a long time. But you have to lay out what are the most important things you believe that are going to change it and drive it forward in the long term. It's often about thinking, what is the outcomes we need to achieve by the end of this quarter? That's the point of the OKR. We have to set it. It might be we want to launch a new product in 6 months, but we know at the end of this first quarter, we want to have done beta testing on 100 people. And we could set outcomes for that level, of having, an MVP testable code that delivers ABCD, that we test it on 50 people and get the usability feedback or something that we can then action. So we can create 5 improvement areas, for example. Could HR teams have OKRs that don't roll up to the company level for quarterly objective? Yes, actually, teams can. There are things we work on that just need to be done. So there can be those OKRs that aren't rolled up to the company levels if they're not driving something forward. The question is if I'm working on something that isn't, and it isn't super important or critical to business, is there something else I should be doing? It's often a question that the team have decided what they want to do rather than thinking about how they're going to drive the business forward. So just keep it in balance. Can we start the OKR process at a department level? Absolutely. A lot of companies start at a leadership level and start very late. We've worked with a lot of leadership teams which have set 1 or 2 OKRs and work their way through it. And maybe the department levels, they've set 1 OKR for each department. And first quarter, they've used it as a learning. Second quarter, they've improved to make it drive the business. And they start to introduce it to the rest of the company. Not directly, but they share the OKRs as a department leader or team leader they're working on and slowly bring people in to understand it. So then themselves have learned it over 1 or 2 quarters, and then they can roll it down. Actually, we often see that is the most successful way to start. A lot of people that work through it from top downwards, and the top level team is very much bought into it and understands the benefits of it and has used it, do a great job of rolling it down through the organization in a way that makes it a success. What are the most critical steps to introducing OKR methodology culture? I think the biggest ones are starting out. I think, first of all, it's a concept. I said earlier, OKRs really are about aligning, but they're a lot about generating the thought and thinking at the team level. I think if you over-mechanize it, if you try to make it too complicated, it won't ever achieve that. The most critical thing is to understand that quarter one, we need to start, but we're not going to be perfect on writing the OKRs. We're not going to get everything aligned perfectly. We're going to learn. But we do learn, and we keep driving forward quarter on quarter. And after 1, 2, 3 quarters, We as a company, meaning leadership, team leaders and people within all the teams, are good at setting OKRs. They're using them to align between strategy and where we go and KPIs and what needs improving. And they're used to drive what we do day to day for improvements. I think there's a lot of steps in there, but I think the big ones are get started, keep it simple, treat it as a journey and not as a mechanical process. And a little bit what I mean by that is KPIs are very mechanical. We update the numbers. The number is the focus. In the OKRs, the process. Are people communicating? Do they get what is an outcome? Have they developed? Can we help them develop better outcome-based key results that become engaging and driving people's thoughts? The other one is OKRs, like any goal-setting system, introduced the wrong way, are seen as a leadership command and control. It's very, very important to set this company objective. Teams develop the OKR as a whole and line it up. You're trying to make sure that teams understand they are part of this goal-setting process. Getting all that working is never easy. It requires change. It requires effort. But getting it done usually results in a dynamic shift in the way the organization works and happier people working in the organization. Please feel free to contact us at email or link up with us on LinkedIn. We're more than happy to answer anything I didn't answer there or something that needs more specific or longer answers. And that's really all from me. I hope you found this useful and have a great rest of the day and week. Thank you.